Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Michelle, and today we have Mark on the show who's selling an affiliate, Amazon associate, display advertising, and digital product business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Mark, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks for making the time to come on today. I'm looking forward to learning more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of it. It's an affiliate, Amazon associate, display advertising, and digital product business in the digital media niche created in December of 2013. The average monthly revenue for the business is $96,720, and it makes an average of $79,489 per month in net profit. What we have included in the sale is a primary domain and all site content and files, social media accounts and pages for Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, an email list with over 37,000 subscribers, and 11 digital products. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 57039 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So Mark, now let's hear from you. This business is well aged. It started in 2013, so you've got a pretty good background in online business. What can you tell us about your background?
Yeah, so prior to that, I worked for around 7 years in online marketing as a content writer, copywriter/content writer. So I worked very closely with the SEO department and designers and web dev as well. So I had a kind of a basic understanding of those things, but my expertise was in content writing.
All right. So you had a pretty substantial background then in digital business. So how did you come up with the idea to start this?
So while I was working in that content writing position in the digital marketing agency, I just had a newfound passion, like a hobby, and it was something that I knew that I could turn into a profession in the future. And just on the cusp of me changing professions, I was just interested to learn more about that certain hobby and the equipment they needed to use for the hobby. And at the time, nothing really existed like that. So I saw that as kind of an opportunity to create something. And it was also really scratching my own itch because I was eager to find something out. So I was kind of investigating it as I went along. And it was almost like I was sharing the process. I figured that if I was really interested in something like this and it didn't exist already, then, there might be some other people as well. So yeah, it's like a personal passion project of mine initially. And it remained that way actually for all this time. It's a passion of mine. And yeah, hopefully that comes across in the content on the site.
So with it being a passion project, why have you decided to sell the business now? It's making a substantial amount of money per month. Is it just time to hang it up and move on?
Yeah, I'm really happy with how much it's grown, and the obviously the income is excellent as well. It's just like a time for a change. Yeah, I just feel like while still a passion of mine, I'd say that I have something else that I'm more interested in now. So yeah, without, wanting to wait a whole 10 years, I just feel like it's a good opportunity now to just move on. Now I have a newfound passion. And yeah, I just find like it's time for a change, really.
So can you explain to us a little bit about how this business primarily makes money?
Yeah, primarily it's an affiliate site. Initially, we still do use Amazon, but that was our main income source for a good few years. And then gradually I just came to the realization that we kind of had all our eggs in one basket. And if Amazon did something like reduce the commission rate, which they occasionally do, or, change something in their terms, then we'd be out of luck. So I decided to start diversifying and finding, like dealing with brands privately, negotiating private affiliate deals with them. Some of them had already affiliate programs that we hopped onto, but from there we kind of negotiated with on the commissions. Other brands didn't have affiliate programs and they still don't now. So we've got very strong relationships with them, and we've just developed a way to there's just a lot of trust involved in terms of occasionally not even having an affiliate dashboard, but we trusting them enough and them trusting us enough. We continue to give them, traffic and sales. So they're happy to pay us a pretty healthy commission. So yeah, to answer your question, it's primarily affiliate based. And then on top of that, we've got display ads, and we also sell some digital products.
And so you had mentioned that you were ready to move on to other things. Is there anything that you've learned from this business that you plan to apply to future sites?
Yeah, definitely. So how to run a content team, first and foremost. Had no managerial experience in my corporate life. I didn't actually get to that stage, but just being thrown in the deep and having to manage a content team, then it's just been kind of a really fast trajectory in terms of how much I've learned, dealing with writers, that kind of thing. And SEO as well. My wife was an SEO manager at the previous company that we worked with. So obviously I've learned a lot from her. But then as we've got 3 young children and very little time to do things together, then she's kind of stepped back. So that's forced me to learn a lot about SEO. We've also got an SEO consultant now that does most of the work. But yeah, just being thrown into the deep end there, I had to learn a lot. Other things that I'd apply to future sites, I guess, due to my limited time just in my personal life with all the kids around me, just the 80-20 principle, just learning to focus on the things that are really working and just to not ignore everything else, but just to be very selective about how to spend my time. And also another important thing is what I would outsource versus what I would do myself. So I think initially, many of us as entrepreneurs, we like to try and do everything ourselves. But I think through experience, we realize that you're often not the best person to do something. So, for example, I can design something, but I'm no way as good as a designer. So for my next business, I'd straight away outsource something like that. Same with web dev. Same with anything that I don't consider myself an expert at. And then a passion. If you can find something that's a passion, then that's a huge bonus. This was a passion of mine, so I found it very easy to write about. The content just came naturally to me because it was something that I was, passionate about. And then, of course, if it's something that you're really interested in and you end up reviewing these products, then you can look forward to, being sent all the latest gear to review. Sometimes they let you keep it, all that kind of stuff. I know it's only a small thing, but yeah, anything to keep you happy when you're doing your job is a good thing. And then the final thing that I've learned is that you should always be working towards a private affiliate deal. And I think this has been drummed home to everyone who's an Amazon affiliate that, Amazon's great. You earn commission on products that aren't related to your niche within that 24-hour window. That's excellent and uncommon amongst other affiliate platforms. But on the flip side, they are the giant. You'll always be the slave to them. They can turn off your income just in an hour. It's just one moment to the next, you'll have nothing. So you really need to build those relationships with other brands and cement in private affiliate deals, negotiate with them. And it kind of lights a fire underneath you because you know that if you perform better, then you can negotiate with them and ask for a higher commission. So as long as your traffic's going higher, as long as you're sending them more sales, then you're in a strong position to negotiate for more commission. But you haven't got a chance in hell to do that if you're with Amazon.
Those are all really, really excellent points. I'm curious about when you were speaking about the 80-20 rule. Is there something that you learned from building this site that worked particularly well?
Yes, spending where it matters. So we're fortunate that our expenses are really low. I didn't know this until I started putting together the figures for selling the site, actually. And I realized, just compared to other businesses of our size, how low the expenses were. So we run really lean. But on the other hand, of course, we do spend, but I've learned that it's important to spend on the things that matter. So obviously that depends on the business that you run, and a lot of it's subjective as well. But it just ties in with what I said before. If something's not your expertise, then you should be paying someone who's doing it better than you. I know that I'm great at writing content, so I can quite easily write a 1,000-word article without really breaking a sweat. But then if I don't have the time to do that, then obviously I've got to find someone else. On the other hand, I'm not great at, web dev. So I'm quite happy to spend on a really good web developer. And just like my wife doesn't have time to do the SEO anymore, I'm really happy to pay a premium for the best SEO consultant that we could find. So yeah, I learned that whilst it's great to save money, then it's also, you're running a business. Don't be afraid to spend money. And another thing that's very specific to my site in particular, but perhaps it can be applied to other ones, is, if you can create something that the users of your product, or in our case, the content on the site, if it's something that the users will help promote without you having to do anything, whether that is by telling their social media following about it, or whether they just simply want to tell their friends and family on Facebook about it, you've got to try and create something that makes that user proud to be a part of the site or proud to be using your product. I know that's like an enormous thing to try and, work out for yourself. Serendipitously, I managed to do that. In retrospect, it's easy for me to say, but that's definitely something that I'm going to try and do for my next project.
And was there anything that didn't work while you were running, like building this business, that you thought, well, that was just time or money wasted or?
Yeah, definitely. Creating digital products, that was something that I thought that I'd be good at, but I turned out that I wasn't very good at it at all. We do have some successful digital products, but I'm not afraid to say that we had one or two that were just complete flunks. But yeah, luckily it was it was my time that was wasted. So yeah, your time is money. I didn't actually spend anything for these digital products. So I guess on the flip side, yeah, there was no money wasted, but I did invest, say, a week of my time to create something. And yeah, it took a lot of my effort because it wasn't something I was particularly comfortable doing because it wasn't my skill at the time. But yeah, we put it out there, didn't sell, moved on to the next thing and kind of forgot about it. But I think if you're running any business, if you don't fail at something, then you're not really trying hard enough, are you?
No, yeah, that exactly. And so where does the majority of your traffic come from?
That's an easy one, Google. Organic traffic majority.
Because you've put a lot into your SEO development, it sounds like.
Yeah, just the marriage of tons of, don't want to toot my own horn, but we've got some great writers, so I'm not afraid to say that the content is excellent. So there's tons of excellent content on the site. And then we're fortunate to have a really, really good SEO consultant who does his part for making sure that Google's happy.
And what do you currently do in terms of marketing?
Very little, actually. I don't even know if this kind of qualifies for marketing, but I write an email every Monday, very personal one. Usually starts with saying, what I did on the weekend, that kind of email. And then midweek, I've started to send like a more promotional email if there's a special offer or something. And then on Fridays, we've got a RSS feed generated email, which requires zero time on my part that just pulls in the week's content. So it's usually between 3 to 5 new articles. I guess you could call that email marketing, but it doesn't really feel like it to me. And then social media, again, doesn't really feel like marketing either because it's all free. Well, I say free. I've got social media manager who I pay, obviously, but we're not doing any paid media ads at the moment. So yeah, that's just like posting the latest article on, say, Facebook and just saying, what do you think of this? Or, just trying to generate some engagement on one of the social media platforms. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of marketing.
So if you were to keep the business, what are some ways you would try to grow it?
All right, I've got a bit of a list here for you, so I'm just going to fly into them all. Stop me if you want any more questions on any of them. But the first and foremost one would be digital products. So most of our competitors in this niche, they're not affiliate sites. They are people who are creating amazing digital products and they've just honed their funnels in. They're making a huge amount of money. The reason that I know this is because I know the people that run the site personally. I've met some of them and we're all just kind of open about what we're doing. And they don't see us as a competitor because we're pretty much an affiliate site and vice versa. We don't really see them as one. I just call them competitors because they're in the same niche as us. But yeah, digital products, that would be a huge one. That's a big opportunity. As I said before, it's not my strong point, and I didn't really have time to find someone who could do it for us. So I just concentrated on what's working, and that's the affiliate side. But I feel like we're missing out on a huge piece of the pie by not creating more digital products. The second one, this one's a little bit more far-fetched, but it's physical products. And I think there is a huge potential for earning a lot of money here, possibly even more than digital products. The reason why we haven't gone this direction is just because of COVID and the whole supply chain thing. But yeah, I'm confident to say that if COVID hadn't happened, then we would have had a physical product by now. Like we're in kind of the late stages of thinking about that. We hadn't gone into developing the product itself, thank God. But yeah, physical products would be a huge one.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I was just wondering, would those be branded products then that you were thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. It would either be the brand of our website or it would be a side brand that we wouldn't purposely associate with it. so that it could be more of an experiment. And if that product failed, then it wouldn't have affected our brand at all. So our original idea was to run consecutively one branded product and one that was completely unassociated, and just see if our brand affected, one of the products, if it helped it sell or not.
Okay.
Yeah. And just the reason why I think that I did say it was far-fetched, because when I say physical products, it obviously involves a lot of work. But on the other hand, I think it's a massive opportunity, because we already rank for so many best of terms that it wouldn't be difficult to create a product and to insert it into those articles. So not doing anything disingenuous, like we'd obviously create something that we believe was the best product, but by putting it into the article, whether we said that it was our product or not, it wouldn't really matter as long as it was a good product. It's like 10 minutes work to put the product in a product table, and then, within a minute, you're already earning money on it. And because it's your product, you're keeping 100% of the profit. So yeah, I think that's a massive opportunity. So moving on, CRO. So we've done some basic conversion rate optimization on the site. We've also paid an agency to do it one or two times. And I'm obviously happy to share who that agency is for whoever buys the site, because they're very good. And both the times that they've worked with us, they've managed to increase our profits on certain pages by 3 or 4 times the original value. So for whatever reason, we just haven't had the time to pursue the CRO path, but that will be something that I do immediately, because it's just like an instant win. All they need to do is do some simple A/B tests on all of our top performing pages, and then just roll out the changes to similar ones. Like, it's a very easy thing to do. It just requires a lot of time and a certain software to do it. You could even train someone in-house to use the software. I'm pretty confident that wouldn't take more than a week to train someone up to use that software and just to run some basic A/B tests. Also on things like our pop-ups, like we have a lot of traffic and we have one main pop-up and it's only converting, I think it's about 1.6% of the traffic, which is really low. So even if we just doubled that, then, we'd double the email signups, and that would be a really easy way to get more people into the funnel. So yeah, to sum that one up, it's just conversion rate optimization. Moving on, display ads. So if you look at the site today, you'd see that we are monetizing with display ads, but we're by no means getting the full effect of that, I don't think, yet. We haven't tested all the placements, we haven't experimented with different ad units and all that kind of thing. So I think that's a huge opportunity as well, especially considering the niche that we're in. It's a very profitable niche. There's a lot of money being spent in that niche, a lot of American traffic as well. So the ad spend would be big. It's basically a very profitable niche and a very US-based traffic niche. So a lot of money flooding into it. So just to summarize, not necessarily increase the amount of paid ads, but just test placements and experiment with including those ads on different pages, that kind of thing. The next thing that I'd do would be to expand horizontally with the content. So we've been very much niche focused with our content up to this point. Fortunately, it's a niche that has tons and tons of content that can be written about it. There's always new products coming out. There's new technology being released. So there's no shortage of content that can be written within the niche. But because of the nature of the niche, we could expand horizontally without it being considered too left field. And I'm confident as well that Google wouldn't see it as kind of diluting our main content, because it will be related to the niche enough that I think it would be accepted. So as soon as you start going out sideways, then there's, a whole nother load of keywords that you can target, a whole load of other products that you can produce, digital products, all that kind of thing. So we haven't really expanded horizontally much at all. And I think that's a massive opportunity. More private partnerships. I won't talk too much about that one because it's, pretty self-evident what I mean there. More links. So SEO consultant he's great at vetting links. He spends loads of time making sure that we have the right links. It's very important to us that our site remains Google compliant as best as possible. We've been very fortunate not to be hit by any of the updates and that kind of thing. I consider us to be doing, very white hat thing here. So when I say more links, you can interpret that as you want, but I think that just more time and money can be invested into getting those links, whether that be more guest posts, making personal relationships, or whatever you think that means. I think we could definitely be attracting a lot more links to the site. I would also hire someone to focus on sales and also someone to focus on the various affiliate programs that we have. So I haven't actually counted how many affiliate programs we have because there's that many of them. But most of the big ones deserve, in my opinion, their own affiliate manager. Like, there's that much money coming in per affiliate program that I think that there needs to be one person has the relationship with that brand. At the moment, it's just me. I have a great relationship with the brands, but there needs to be one person that's on the phone to that affiliate manager once a week and, just asking what's working, not necessarily negotiating all the time, but just having that really strong relationship. I'd love it if we had a manager per affiliate brand, but ideally just one affiliate manager who could take care of that for me. That would be much better in my opinion. And I think that even without negotiating those commission rates actively, I think passively we would just be, I'd like to think that the brands would just give us more commission earlier on in the year, purely because of the relationships that we build. And then I'd like to hire someone for sales, but I mean the private partnerships that we've got going here, selling ad space, selling paid reviews, paid articles, selling email blasts, that kind of thing. So whilst that's always been me, I'd love to have people in charge of that. Okay, I've got 4 more for you, Michelle. Am I running out of time?
No, you're not at all.
Okay. So the next one, I'd like to experiment with physical advertising, events and expos, that kind of thing. So I've been to these expos around the world myself just to kind of get a feel for whether our brand was known there. And it was, even though we weren't advertising there, just by talking to people, they knew about the site, which was awesome. But I've never actually paid to hold a booth or to advertise in a brochure or any of that kind of thing. So I think that the brand is strong, but I reckon we could get even stronger by doing something like that. So yeah, that would be something that I think I'd do in the future if I were to keep the business. Next one, keep this one short. I'd negotiate higher commissions with the brands that we're working with. We do this relatively often, but I think with the traffic increasing every month and the sales increasing, I think that we can be slightly more aggressive in terms of negotiating with them.
Okay, that sounds great. So some of the things that you covered, some of them that you touched upon, for example, hiring a dedicated affiliate manager, these are things that you're doing right now. So can you describe the amount and the type of work that you are currently doing on the business for maintenance?
Yeah, it's not much, to tell you the truth, Michelle. It's like about 1 to 3 hours every weekday. And that's just purely because of my personal situation at the moment, trying to juggle a lot in just personal life with kids and whatnot. So I kind of don't have much time. That's just basically how it's been running for the last 6 months, I'd say. Yeah, it's just in this fortunate position where I've worked my ass off for so many years on the site that it kind of maintains itself now. And we've got such a good team that I don't really need to do much. So yeah, I update the odd article. I'll write something myself just to keep those skills fresh, but I really don't need to. I can just hand that off to one of the writers. And then we've got the SEO consultant who handles maintenance because he's got a couple of VAs that handle dev work. So yeah, it's just literally a case of me saying this needs fixing and then him telling his VAs to go and do it. So yeah, I do very little in terms of maintenance for the site.
No, it's great. A lot of buyers are really looking for more of a hands-off model. So that's great that you've been able to streamline your processes so much and you have identified areas where they could be streamlined further. So no, that's fantastic. So what skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who's not familiar with your niche or the business model?
I think it's quite generic, the skills that you need to run any content business. So it's things like email writing, just for the newsletter, and also just email between brands and that kind of thing. Managing relationships with those brands, just being able to speak on the phone, or to be honest, I don't actually talk on the phone with the brands that much, but just being a good person. Don't be a dick to people. That's my number one motto on that. And then negotiation skills. I'm no good at negotiating, I'll tell you that up front, but somehow I've learned how to kind of negotiate more commission from the brands. So if you've got some great negotiation skills, that will go a long way. And then I said it before, the email writing for the newsletter, but obviously content writing and editing skills would be a huge plus. It's not completely necessary because I can just hand that off to my team or whoever buys the site. They don't need to know any of this really because we've got the team in place. But because that's my expertise from the corporate life, I guess, I like to have a hand in the content writing. Like I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty and just write something or edit something or proof something, despite having the team members to do that. So yeah, I like to think that would be, a good skill for someone to have, just so that you know as much as or more than the person writing the topic. Your English grammar is better than them, hopefully, or whatever it is. And then overall management skills are key, I think, more than anything niche specific. So obviously I can't tell you what the niche is in, but that's my background. Like I'm a professional at this particular niche. So yeah, I'm an expert in the topic already, but the person who buys the site really doesn't matter, even if they can't even spell the niche. Like they don't need to know anything about it because we've got the team in place. It's more just how to manage people. It's just the management of the team, just how to interact with them. And my background, I've never been a manager in my corporate life, so I didn't know how to do any of this. And I don't read any books on management. I don't think there's any point because it's all virtual. Essentially, I'm on Trello, writing comments to them and thanking them for articles and giving them pointers. It's not really hands-on management. But yeah, any good management skills that you can bring to the table, that will be beneficial. How to motivate a team, how to keep them motivated, how to reward them. Yeah, just be a nice person to your team and everything will run smoothly.
And I just kind of wanted to circle back very briefly. You'd already brought this up about starting out with Amazon Associate and realizing that you were putting all of your eggs in one basket. And I know that you've already taken enormous steps to diversify your revenue streams, which is fantastic. But obviously, every business comes with some element of risk. So what do you think are the biggest risks associated with this business and the business model that a buyer should be aware of?
Yeah, so you've hit the nail on the head with the Amazon side of things, is just diversify into other affiliate programs. Yeah, aside from that, as I said before, the majority of our traffic is Google organic. So we're heavily reliant on Google. And if you were to look at our analytics, you'd see that we haven't been hit by any of the updates. Thankfully, there's been no loss in traffic over all these updates that have hit much bigger sites than us. And also some sites, they're not in our niche, but semi-related niches. So it's a mixture of luck, I guess, and just what we're doing proactively to ensure that we stay compliant, all these other things to make sure that we aren't, or should I say, stand the least chance possible of being hit by a Google update. So just to sum up, the risk is that if there's a Google update and we get hit by it, then obviously we're going to lose a lot of the traffic. But I like to think that we could bolster that loss in traffic because we've got a relatively large and engaged email list and a social media following. So we could, run some paid ads or do something organically over there, or we could just simply start selling more of our affiliate products via the email list and get on top of the Google update and then recover from there.
I'm really impressed because you are one of two sellers that I've spoken to recently who was not affected by the recent updates. And, you see this so often with content sites. You mentioned yourself, sites that are bigger, sites that are in your niche, sites that are outside of your niche that really were affected by some of these recent updates. And it's just incredible that you managed to pull through without any lost traffic.
Yeah, I'm kind of touching wood the whole time I'm saying the word Google because I know how lucky we are. And yeah, I don't want to take all the credit for it. Our SEO consultant's excellent. And basically, I just do whatever he says. I do have a lot of SEO knowledge, but not nearly as much as he. So yeah, I'm just fortunate to have the right people on the team and we just try and stay as clean as possible. And yeah, we've been very fortunate. Hopefully it continues.
So to turn the focus to potential buyers just for a second, would you be willing to commit to a non-compete?
Yes, definitely.
And how much support are you offering buyers?
So I don't know what's average when you sell a site, but I'm happy to stay available for as long as necessary in terms of support. Like if I were to sell the site today, I don't have anything that I need to take care of straight away in terms of businesses. So I'd be at whoever's buyer's disposal for however long they need me. The reason I'm confident to say that is because I know it's pretty simple in terms of the way to run a business. It's easy for me to say that because it's my business, I know, but I don't think it's complicated business. We're a very small team. Everything's done quite simply. It's all handled on a free Trello board. We're not even a premium Trello board. Yeah, I like to think that within a week, I could bring anyone up to speed on how to run this business because we've just got such a solid team in place that I'll do all the hard work for them.
Yeah, that's great. All of the things that you've said about management and learning how to manage a team, I'm sure that would be extremely helpful for a prospective buyer, getting to know your team and how they work. And you already have a lot of these systems in place. So that's fantastic. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
At this point in time, I wouldn't like to do an earnout. I'd like just a clean break from the business just so that I can go on and enjoy some time off and go on to something brand new. But yeah, let's see whether the business sells soon or not, and perhaps I'll change my mind in the future.
And putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
So I already touched on a lot of the opportunities for growth. I think I probably talked too much about that, but I think you got the idea that there's tons of opportunities there. And I kind of took on, just because I don't have much time and I'm trying to focus on these, going back to that 80-20 thing, I'd love to be able to hand off the majority to someone else. So if I had more time, I would have hired someone. But if you're someone who can come in and you've got a team as well as our team, and you can immediately, start putting those managers in place, then I think immediately you're going to be able to grow the business much better than I've done up till now. You could grow by hiring, or you could bring in your existing team, that kind of thing. Another reason I think the business is worth buying is because of the minimal costs and expenses involved in running it. So without looking at our profit and loss, obviously this is very hard for you to tell. But as I mentioned before, I think we do have very low costs when you compare it to any other business of our size. And also the minimal time required. I also touched on this before, but yeah, 1 to 3 hours per day. And if I miss a day, it's no big deal. At the moment, I've got my sister visiting from England, and, I'm quite happy to take a day off. It doesn't really matter, that kind of thing. So there's not much time required if you come in and you want to just take over managing from my position. That's a huge bonus, I think. And linked to that as well, there's not much maintenance involved. You don't need to have a technical background, by no means skilled in web development, but we've, again, got people in place that I can just ask them to do stuff if anything's needed. But the site build is relatively simple. It's just, a tweaked WordPress theme. There's nothing super custom going on there. So yeah, it's very simple to maintain. Also, the steady upward trajectory in terms of traffic and income, despite COVID, things definitely slowed down, but nothing went downhill. We just grew slower. So I think to be able to do that during COVID, I think that's a huge plus. So who knows when COVID's going to disappear completely. But yeah, I think that we can expect stronger growth from now on. And we've been holding our own against sites that are much, much bigger than us. Without revealing the niche, it's quite hard to talk about, but just take it from me that we are competing against some enormous people. And just by taking, 1 or 2% of the pie there, we're still making a lot of money. So if we were to do even better, then yeah, sky's the limit. Another reason that I think the site would be great for a potential buyer is the relationships that we've got with the brands that we're working with as an affiliate. I don't know if we're their biggest affiliates, but we feel like we are. We're treated like we're one of the best affiliates that these brands have. I can send an email and get a response within a couple of hours, and they're very freely negotiable on commissions. Just as an example, this is going to sound a bit like I just made it up, but 2 weeks ago, I sent an email out to one of our main affiliates, and within, I'd say, 2 days, I say negotiated, it was just one email, but we'd got a deal that was worth 5 figures. And that was just me asking for something and them saying, yeah, let's do it. So due to the size of us, we're able to move really quickly. There's no one to answer to in that respect. And because of the brands that we're working with, we've built up that level of trust. They don't really have to, spend ages mulling over some kind of huge decision like that. They're able to just say a quick yes or a no. The brands are also, I've found recently, very eager to work with us. So I say recently, it's literally within the last 3 months that I've had the time to ask brands to do things that we haven't done with them in the past, such as paid reviews or paid articles or even paying for us to email. This wasn't something that I was comfortable to do previously, but then I just realized that we were leaving a lot of money on the table. Not to mention the fact that the brands also, we wanted to help the brands out coming up to Christmas and Black Friday and that kind of thing. So I just, as an experiment, I started emailing a few of them and just saying, hey, do you want to pay to, for us to email a promotion out this week? And they all hopped on board. The people that I asked this, like a handful, they all said, yep, straight away. So I just kind of slowly scaled that, and I'm kind of experimenting with what pricing to use, that kind of thing. But if you've had any experience with this kind of one-on-one negotiations and private partnerships, then you could bring that straight into the table and start, experimenting with other things with the brands. But yeah, it's just been a really great feeling to know that all these huge brands that, without revealing the niche, you would definitely know these brands, like they are household names. They are eager to work with people like us that are way, way smaller than other huge sites out there in our niche. Yeah, that's just amazing in my opinion. And yeah, if you come on as the buyer, then you're going to have that straight away. Next thing, this niche, it attracts both the professional and a hobbyist crowd. Now, the hobbyists, they're the ones that are keen to spend money. If you've ever had a new hobby, like my latest hobby is cycling, I just want to buy everything related to bikes. I think that's typical for someone who's just found a new hobby. They just want to be good at it straight away. So they want to buy all the gear, even though they don't have any idea. So that's a great market, I think. And then on the other end of the scale, professionals, they've got deeper pockets because they're obviously earning money and they're able to do business write-offs for whatever gear that they need to buy to carry out their profession. So I think that's just a great marriage to have both of those ends of the scale to be able to market to. So I can't reveal the niche, so I can't speak any further about that. But trust me, we're touching on both of those sections of demographic there.
And I think it's important to add that it is an evergreen niche. It is not a fad or something that's going to disappear anytime soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no seasonality to it either. Nothing at all. People buy more at Christmas. That's pretty much it. And then also a chance to expand horizontally with the content. I touched on this before. I think that's a massive opportunity. If you've got a content team in place, you could work with us on that as well. And the nature of the content in this site means that it promotes itself. So I don't want to explain too much there, but it was what I said before about people who use the site. They're keen to tell their friends about it, tell their social media audience about it. Another thing is I feel that we're a respected brand in the industry. We're well known. And the reason that I know this is because I've been to the Expos and I've just kind of thrown the name out there to see the reaction. And yeah, a good amount of times people have already heard of us, which is great. When I reach out to new brands, more often than not, they know the site. They've heard about us for whatever reason. And this is even before we've paid for any kind of advertising. So I think if you were to pay for advertising, then yeah, you could really push the brand even further. And again, we haven't been affected by any Google update. I don't want to spend any more time on that because I've spoken about it in the past. It's no guarantee, but it's just like, I guess it gives you a good idea of our kind of content and the links that we've been attracting. We've never been penalized, that kind of thing. We do things like clean spammy links. Like every site attracts a lot of spammy links when of this size. So we're very proactive in doing things to keep Google happy, I guess. We don't do any black hat, no PBMs, nothing like that, all that kind of shady stuff. I know about it and I'm very tempted to do it if I had a smaller site that wasn't my main income, but there's no way that I'd do it on this site. Again, we have a great team. We are multinational, spread all over the world. There's only a few of us. They are, cheap's not the right word, but we don't have to pay them a lot. They're very motivated because they are professionals in this niche, as well as being excellent writers. So writing about the products, writing about the articles, it just comes naturally to them. And I think that comes across in the actual content itself. And they are motivated because it's something that they're passionate about. So that's a win-win. They're very easy to communicate with. It's just, again, over Trello, just sending messages. I've spoken on the phone to just a couple of them. I've never met any of them in person, only the local ones. And yeah, they're just passionate about what they do. It's just a great little team and they're faithful in terms of wanting to be in it for the long run. So I'm just going off what they've told me. They're not employees by any stretch. They're not contracted to work for any period of time, but we just have this mutual understanding. Although they're freelance, I'm happy to keep paying them if they're happy to keep working for me. And I haven't told them, obviously, that I'm selling the site because it's not the right stage to do so. But when I do have that discussion with them, I'm confident that they do have other opportunities to go to if the person who buys the site doesn't want to use them. But I would heavily recommend that you do keep the content team on because after years of using different writers, I've honed it down to what I consider to be two of the best writers in our particular industry, although I would say that I'm very biased. But yeah, they're very easy to work with. And then finally, this is super subjective, but it's a very fun niche to be in. It's not one of these, I won't give any examples, but yeah, it's a fun niche. Even if you're not a professional at this niche, it's a very fun niche to be in. There's new gear being released all the time, like literally every week there'll be something new coming out. There's endless products to review. There's endless articles to write about on this topic. And the technology in the niche is fascinating. It's constantly evolving. There's AI driven, I can't really say too much, but there's a lot of new technology coming out in this niche, especially this year, which was surprising due to COVID and all that. But next year, especially, there's going to be some huge, huge things coming out. So yeah, I'm passionate about the niche, but even if it's not an interest of yours, then yeah, be safe in the knowledge that there's lots and lots of things happening in the niche. There's lots of developments. There's huge, passionate communities in the niche. So yeah, no shortage of people to write for, no shortage of products to sell. And yeah, I just think you're going to really enjoy it.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. I really feel like you've given us an excellent insight into your business. So thank you very much for your time today, Mark.
Absolutely. No, I've had fun. I feel like I've got more and more passionate as I've spoken. So yeah, apologies if I've spoken too much.
No, not at all. It's been a pleasure to learn more about your business. I really, really enjoyed this.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 57039. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.